What's up, 10 Skill Squad? It's been a while since we've seen this thing. And honestly, now, taking it off the shelf after a year, things are not as
nice as they used to be, huh?
No, Traxxas UDR. This thing, you haven't seen it because the last time that we ran it, we were filming a video with it, and the steering servo just completely died. And it, it's just one long list after another with this thing. Shelved it, haven't looked at it since, and today we're gonna go over why this thing, although it is expensive, it never gets used. Mm-hmm. So we're going to, it's gonna be a whole long thing. Let's just get to it. Why this thing sucks. So this thing, it looks pretty realistic. The overall chassis, it's got a independent front suspension, solid live rear axle in the back, and it really looks like a trophy truck. It really looks like a Baja truck. And I really appreciate when people don't use body clips on their RCs because body clips just make it look not as nice. This one has body clip stickers, and it uses just a bunch of these screws to get the body on and off. Well, that one's completely ripped through.
Those are supposed to be hood pins.
Yes, but you know what I'm after.
Yes.
Tons and tons of screws, which makes servicing just that much more fun. And, obviously the Lexan just did not hold up very well.
You gotta do top and bottom.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep. Boom. I just got hit with things.
Perfect.
And now you might think, oh, well, that wasn't so bad. Just a few screws and now you can service everything. No.
Wrong.
No. We need to get to the servo on this thing, and it is buried deep in the bowels of the gosh dang thing. And you guys know me. I'm not the most organized man there is. That's why I have Ethan here. And, just even getting to basic components
you're going to have to...
Yep. Yeah, cage has to come off.
Out of there. And...
It's a lot. For another failed Traxxas servo. There's something you don't say every week and a half.
What you got?
Ethan, I'm going to leave all of this in your hands. It's new paint, new kinds of paint we've never used before. So I am trusting you.
Bad idea.
It's going to be way better than anything I could do. The biggest issue is just, fragility. The thing is not meant for bashing. It even says on the box, like, hey, this is not a basher, drive with care. And that's fine. It's just a little too fragile for its own good. And when you need to service the thing, they make it such a pain in the butt. How many screws have we taken off already just to get to the servo? The servo's still installed, but now we finally at least have access to it, at least the bottom part of it. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Wow, this is dirty. Get in here. Get your hook your peel. Look at this, dude. Look at how filthy this is. So after taking out way too many freaking screws, finally got the servo out, at least disassembled to the point where I can put the new servo in the bracket before putting it all together. But this thing is a dirty, dirty mess, and I think now is the time that we should just, maybe clean it a little bit. Let's do that. Ready? Boom. It's not perfect, but it is much, much better than what it was. So I've got the new steering servo installed in the steering servo bracket, but, while we've got the whole thing apart and while we've got access to the innards, now might be a good time to obviously maintain stuff, make sure that everything is plugged in good and tight, nothing's getting frayed or rubbing together or anything like that, and, of course, my favorite, upgrades. So we got this Traxxas UDR Light Kit. It was $150. Why are Traxxas accessories so freaking expensive? Like, yeah, I'm expecting this to go together pretty pretty easily and just fit nice and work well. But holy crap, that's so expensive. If you notice, I did not buy a Traxxas steering servo. I got one of these like super budget spec. It's a 35 kg. The reviews on it were pretty good. I've used this brand a bunch before, and we actually have pretty good luck with them. And servos are, they're expendable, they're replaceable, so it seems foolish to spend almost $100 on a servo that might last a year when I can get this one for $30. So let's get the light kit unboxed and let's start, putting it in the thing. Alright, so we got the light kit installed, and it actually was pretty simple, pretty easy. The wiring is still an absolute rat's nest, but I want to plug everything in, including the new servo, make sure that is centered before we actually start putting this thing back together. And that brings me to my next big gripe with this thing. The freaking proprietary gosh dang battery connectors. Now, get your peepers on in here. So I know you're thinking, oh, well, just use battery adapters. And yeah, that's what we do with this thing. But the connectors are actually molded into the chassis, which means if you want to use something that isn't Traxxas batteries, and let's be honest, you don't want to use Traxxas batteries. If you want to use anything other than that, the batteries have a hard time fitting. You can only use soft cases, and you have to run just these ridiculous battery extensions, and you can't get those single piece ones. You have to get ones with the wire leads on it. Then you have all this big, it's totally normal. You have this big conglomeration of adapters and such that you gotta stuff in there, and it's just not a good solution. But with enough smashing, you can make it fit. And does it turn on, or did we destroy it? Oh yeah. It is freaking on. Let's turn the transmitter on. Yes, wonderful. But most of our lights are not on. There we go. There's super bright mode. Still no servo. Let's get that plugged in right quick and make sure that is centered. What did I do with the, here it is. And I think we should have just enough wire. Shove our wire through the handy dandy little receiver box loom thingy. I mean, I get what they're going for, keep your wiring neat and tidy and out of the way and in a nice little box thing, but no good deed goes left unpunished, as they say. So I'm going to make sure the trim is in the neutral position, which it absolutely is. We're ready to actually reassemble this thing. I'm just gonna use some zip ties that were included with the light kit. Get this thing all zip tied back to zip tied up and out of the way so we don't destroy these wires, which are really thin. I mean, that is a tiny little wire there. We can put that new body on. I have not seen it yet. We'll throw the wheels and tires back on this thing and yeah, get a look at it in its new UDR 2.0. I'm not gonna complain about it anymore, I promise. Mode. Well, Ethan, what do you think?
I love it.
Another fantastic paint job. We discussed for a while what color we were gonna paint it, and we both thought that we were going to go with like that dark green. Like we even looked at like old Ford colors.
Or like a sky blue or
Yeah.
something very light.
Yeah.
That was, we probably spent 15, 20 minutes looking at the actual 1967 Ford paint template of all of them. And
but then
we chose neither.
Yeah. But zero regrets. This thing looks really, really cool. Light Kit is in. It is really bright.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you get the Traxxas doodles, you can do all the fun things, which, you know, is another thing. It's like, why do you have to buy all these separate things just to get the functionality of something you already bought to work? It irritates me so. But now we've got this thing ready to go, and it looks great, and we are going to absolutely destroy it.
We are. It's a little heartbreaking, but we went into it me fully knowing it's going to get wrecked.
Yep. Which brings me to the last thing that I really don't like about the UDR is the way that it drives. It drives really scale. Like when it's out, when you're out there cruising on the track, it drives almost too much like a real car in the sense that this thing rolls a lot.
You really have to know how to drive it to drive it. You really do. It's not forgiving at all.
No. It's there's no hammer down maximum berries. You really have to finesse this thing, which I kind of have grown to love about it because it's so unlike any other like 7th scale trophy truck that we have. It definitely adds a new kind of skill, a new challenge to driving it. But when you want to go out and just turn laps and put the hammer down, it's not great
not the weapon.
at that. If you're looking for a big Baja truck, is this the best one out there? I mean, the Arrma is, you know, very similar in a lot of ways. I think it might be built a little bit better, and this thing you can absolutely go put the hammer down and just, you know, send it maximum berries. It's not as detailed. It's not a realistic platform. You know, this is just a bigger scale. This is just a bigger scale, like buggy almost. But the thing is absolutely wicked. And as you can tell by the absolute devastation inside of this thing, we run it a lot.
Yep.
We use this thing, and we are not kind to it. And it's pretty much completely stock. We broke the front bumper on it, and, you know, we added some cooling fans because, you know, Arrma. But other than that, it's pretty much totally stock, and it just loves everything that we throw at it.
I don't know if we can necessarily blame Arrma as much as just the way we drive.
That's very true. That's fair. That's fair. So, which one is better? I think there's only one way to find out. Now, stick around, guys. If this is your first time checking out the channel, welcome. I'm glad you found it. We like to do RC shenanigans like this all the time, and I think now we need to go out and run these things, put them head to head. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you very, very